Well, I'll be back to reviews soon enough. But this week I'm going to tell you a little about my own guitar playing journey. Now, I began playing guitar at age 12, and my goal was always to be a professional musician. This was quite natural since literally the only musicians I personally knew were my dad and a few of his friends, all professionals or semi-pros. Now, my dad was a pro since long before I was born, and as a child, it never would have even occurred to me to take up an instrument without a career in mind. Now, the funny thing is, I wasn't even going to play the guitar. I was set on playing a different instrument than my dad, and I'd narrowed it down to either the saxophone or the drums. I loved the sax from the soul music I grew up on. And on those occasions when I saw my dad on stage, I was always fascinated by the drummer. But chance intervened when a neighbor and good friend my age began taking guitar lessons. And the next thing I can remember, I decided to ask my parents to send me to his teacher. Now, despite money always being tight in our house, I not only got the lessons, but my dad wouldn't let me start on some student model and bought me Fender's top of the line at the time, a Jazzmaster. It was a great one, and I played it until I was about 19 when I traded it in on an Olympic white maple board Strat, just like Jimmy played. I love all kinds of guitars, but to this day, Fenders and Fender-style guitars still feel most like home. Guitar lessons in those days. They had me sight reading songs like On Top of Old Smoky. And while I didn't like the songs, I did like my teacher, and after a short time, we'd end every lesson by closing the music book and jamming, with her playing rhythm and me playing a boogie pattern. That was the part I enjoyed the most. The reading felt mechanical, though with hindsight, I should have stuck with it. And that was long before young students were taught to play the music they actually liked, and as a result, I grew bored with the lessons and began wearing out my records learning the music I did like, by ear. By the time I was 15, I was playing in a band with guys older than me. We had good management and were booked almost every weekend. I played and practiced so much that in those days I'd sometimes fall asleep with my guitar across my chest. By the time I was 17, I was playing 5 sets in nightclubs. Well, I can't complain. My guitar has taken me to several countries in Europe, all across the US and Canada. Eventually, I developed a back issue, which forced me to stay closer to home, which is a big reason why I began this YouTube channel. Well, I'd actually planned this video for my Patreon page, but since I'm not quite ready to do my next gear video, I decided to go ahead and release it here as well. Now, I have to admit, I'll be pretty surprised if it gets a lot of views, but I do hope those of you who tuned in enjoyed it. A huge thanks to all of you who follow my channel, and I will see you again very soon.